Welcome back to the preview. It is Prairie Heights. It is Journey Fellowship. So until September, this is what we've got going on, and man, I love it. What an exciting time to be part of the church family. How's things in Karl's world? What's happening today?
Just working, and I thought of something today. It made me chuckle since we're waiting till September. So on a lot of things we're Journey Fellowship, and a lot of things we're still Prairie Heights. So we can either be, by the way I see it, we can either be Prairie Fellowship or Journey Heights. Either one of those two. If either one of those grab you, or some variation thereof. But
well, yeah, we'll see what we can work out. Maybe we can come up with a theme song or something for our transition.
Sure. Right?
Yeah. All right. Well, cool. So we've been on this. Speaking of journeys, this journey around the world of the 7 wanderings of the world. Right. We've been talking about things that people question, like things that we're questioning about our lives, and we've gone through half. Right. Well, just over half. We finished 4.
I would say we finished up 4, so we'll have 3 left, I guess.
Yeah, math is hard. Let's not go into fractions. I didn't appreciate that in school, but so we just finished up. Remind me, what did we talk about Sunday? I've got it here.
Why is there suffering?
Why is there suffering? And before the week before that, that's the one that was on my mind this week. So apparently it just took a little bit to sink in. But what's in the future for me and my family?
Right.
Yep. We had some great conversations already. Why is there pain and suffering? And that was a tough subject to cover. So thank you for taking on the tough ones. I mean, that's part of your job. I get that, but it's also a difficult message to carry around and to share with others. So I appreciated that one. It was good to hear.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the encouragement. It isn't always easy because sometimes the truth hurts, and I am so proud to be part of a church that isn't scared of the truth. Doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt, but yeah, absolutely. I love the fact that we're willing to dig in.
I think back to growing up, and I was fortunate to be raised in a Christian home. We had a church that actually was just a half a block away from the small town I grew up in, so that was convenient. And I was in the church choir. I think that was a pretty cool thing. But I think back to all those times, and a lot of the time in my early adulthood, and it was a comfort thing. Like, I went to church to get comforted. And I feel now one of the things that's different in my walk now is if I get too comfortable, there's something wrong, because I'm not being challenged. And I find that really important, and it's an important part of why I'm at the church that I am. So thanks to everybody that's part of that for all of us, right?
Certainly. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's our next challenge? What are we hearing the answers to which question? I think I got that right.
There was a question in that statement for
somewhere.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. This week we're going to be looking at the question in its original form was, does God really forgive my sin?
Ooh.
And so as with most of these questions, we can kind of break it into a few different parts, because we as Christians, so when I say we as Christians, anyone that is a Christian has accepted Jesus Christ, has their sins forgiven. And we're going to talk about that a little bit, because not everybody that comes on Sunday is a Christian. You know, we're a church for the unchurched, so there might be seekers and new believers that maybe don't understand. You know, there are a lot of people actually in the world that think, oh, I'm so bad that I can barely stand myself. How could God ever forgive me? You know,
Yeah, can I add on to that just a little bit? It's not just people that think that. I think there are those of us that have moments in time where we go through that struggle. Like, it's not this group of people and that group of people. And I'm speaking for myself, because there are days I am 100% bought into having been forgiven, and it could be one moment later that I struggle, and that's one of the tapes that I struggle with as a Christian man. And I just you really honed in on something for me there. I wanted to talk about it since you brought it up. So each of us can feel that at any time, and I think we can bring it out into the light and get rid of the shame and share that burden with each other. That's why I wanted to talk about it here.
Awesome. And thank you for bringing that up, because we are going to cover a little bit of that on Sunday, because forgiveness
Mm.
And God forgives. To truly feel forgiven, right? To feel that forgiveness, we're forgiven, and sometimes we don't feel forgiven. And I think that's what you're talking about.
Right. It's already happened, right? There's nothing I can do. And man, that blows my mind sometimes. There's nothing I can do to get forgiven. It's already happened. Wow. That takes a lot to accept.
It does. And so what I think people are saying when they ask, does God really forgive my sin? I think what most of us are asking, does God continually forgive the same sin, that repetitive sin? Probably the one that we probably all struggle with different ones, but the one that you struggle with is the one where like, man, how can God keep forgiving us? And we're going to talk about that, because there is a hard truth that goes along with that, and that's a very churchy word, because there's a lot of churchy words that for the unchurched, it might be like, oh, what's that one? And it's repentance. Repentance is key to forgiveness. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, because there are people that will go to church this Sunday and will put money into the offering plate, and will eat the green Jello downstairs and drink the coffee and do all the churchy stuff that haven't really believed. They believe in Jesus, they haven't believed Jesus. And we're going to talk about that, because again, this is going to be one of those, it's a hard truth that what society and what a lot of churches tell us. I shouldn't say a lot of churches, that's not fair, but some churches, the real popular theology right now is if you say this prayer, right? You say a prayer to Jesus and you mean it, you're good to go. And that seems too easy. Well, kind of, because it is. There's more to being a Christian than just saying a prayer. And I always make a joke about the laminated get out of hell free card. But,
right.
Yeah, there's more to it than that. But that's really what it is. And it's repentance. And Jesus talks about it. Paul talks about it. Peter talks about it. John the Baptist talks about it. Repentance. So we're going to talk about what repentance is, because I believe understanding repentance is going to allow us to feel God's forgiveness. And when we feel God's forgiveness, it's way easier to forgive other people, because we truly understand what forgiveness is then.
Don't forget about forgiving ourselves. That's got to fit in there somewhere. And
absolutely. And that goes along with it. That plays right into exactly what we're talking about. Absolutely.
What a fantastic message for this week, in which we're having communion also. So great way to progress right from, I know we've got some great music lined up. We'll go into some really personal time as we go through communion. I love the fact that it's our church family doing it together, and that's one of the closest times I feel to God and to Jesus, when we're going through that. It's one of the rare rituals that I really appreciate in life. I'm not a big guy when it comes to that kind of thing. I like things to be shaken up and different, but that one really is touching. I think there's two, and getting into the worldly side of things, there's two times that I really feel that, and it's when I'm having communion with the church, and at a sporting event or some event where there's a lot of people and it's the national anthem, or there's a prayer and everybody's focused in on one thing, and just to feel that connection with others. I think that's like I said, that might be a more human connection than what we usually talk about here, but I think that's part of our humanity in being here is finding those connections.
You're 100% right on. What I believe God created us for is connection, right? To connect with Him, obviously, and then to connect with others. And in that connection, and we talked a little bit about it last week and the week before, because I think a lot of these 7 questions have to do with real connection. And it's, we're supposed to be showing God's characteristics. We're supposed to be loving people and forgiving people and being merciful and generous and serving and supportive and encouraging. Absolutely. We're supposed to do that. And it's easy to do that with people we like.
Yeah.
Right. Stop right there.
Dot. So sometimes you have a verbal ellipses. I think that's important in life.
Right. Yeah.
Well, listen, I think. Go ahead.
You go.
Joys of technology. I was actually just going to recap a little bit on where we're at and what's coming up.
Okay.
What else did you have to rap about here today? We've got all the time in the world, man.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to say, because we're speaking about connection,
Yeah.
and I found out this last Sunday how important real connection, whether it's visual
Mm.
or physical, is to me. I don't know if everybody knew this, but there was a little issue with the camera that enables me to see you guys.
Oh, right.
So I wasn't able to see you guys.
Mm.
And I knew you were there.
Were you-
Sadie, go
Were you
ahead.
able to were you able to hear us?
Yep, because I called Sadie, so
All right.
I can hear you guys, and I heard and actually Sadie, since I can't see anybody, can you just tell me when it's time to go? So Sadie said, it's time to go. That's so
That's
but it
awesome.
was really, and then she knew that I was going to be speaking, so she hung up her phone, and it was just kind of very unique. I lost what little connection I had. I knew you guys were there, but I couldn't see you, couldn't hear you. So it was really different for me. So I didn't realize how much I missed that camera until it wasn't there. So I'm really looking forward to being with you guys live. I love that even more. So
Yep, for sure. As much as we love the technology, having that in-person connection means a lot. So thanks for making the effort when you do come up, and and even with the technology, I mean, it's still amazing to me. As much as I love gadgets and technology, I work in a technology field. It still is amazing to me that something is, call it simple as you and I having this conversation, and within minutes being able to put it out online and anybody in the world can see it, and all of it works. So we get upset when things don't work, right? And nobody's came across as upset. Your message was great on Sunday, and the team was working, but nobody was sweating it. I don't think there was anybody having a real problem with it. Anxiety doesn't need to be part of it. We do what we can, and then we move on. I thought it worked great, but when things don't work out and the computer isn't doing or my phone isn't doing what it's supposed to, it's easy to get upset. But in the big picture, it's amazing that all of this stuff works as well as it does. So I think that's worth mentioning in today's world as well. So, but yeah, with that, I think looking forward to seeing everybody Sunday. I can't wait to join in communion. We've got another solid group up on stage. I love it when we've got more than 2 or 3 people. It's great when it's intimate like that, and when we can get a bigger group together. I think it's just a lot of fun. So excited to see everybody this weekend. And in Fargo, if you happen to be in Fargo because you're from there or because you're passing through, 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock Saturday.
And then in Bismarck, it'll be 9:30 for Sunday school on Sunday, and then 10 o'clock is the service. So we'll see everybody this weekend. Don't forget, it's May Day. Today is the 30th, so May Day is tomorrow. Do you guys do the little baskets?
No, I was thinking about that today. As a matter of fact, while I was working, we used to do. My wife does a lot of that stuff when our kids were young. She used to do all that stuff. I think I'm going to surprise her and do a May basket.
Oh,
I got to find a Dixie cup and some pipe cleaner. That's
exactly
it.
it.
You got to ring the doorbell and run, right? Isn't that
Yes. Well, and unless the person you're giving it to catches you, and then they get to give you a kiss.
Oh, I'll run slow. Run slow.
There you go. Yep, absolutely. I think we've got a good plan. And then what else do we have? Cinco de Mayo when is that? Sunday then? Is that the 5th? It is.
Oh, yeah, it should be. Yep.
And then in between there, are you much of a Star Wars guy? I don't take you as a big sci-fi guy.
I'm not, but I know May the 4th is big with
May the 4th. Yes. So to all my fellow geeks out there, it's an exciting weekend coming up. But otherwise, we'll see everybody on Sunday. God bless. Take care. Thanks again for everything.
Thank you.